Hi guys, hey, welcome to Something with Sina. I know, you need to calm down, yeah? I know that it's been almost or over 2 months since I posted. I promise you, I really have a good explanation that is probably going to be on some other video, but the video that I want to take right now is for something that has been sitting literally in the oven of my heart for almost 2 months. When I tell you that this has been, I've been carrying what I want to share with you for some time, and I just haven't had the time. Not to say that this was taking priority. Oh no, not to say that other things were taking priority over this, but like things have been happening and they were out of my control. And right now I feel like I do have time. I know from like also the background and whatever, this feels so professional. I'm taking my video um, at work, obviously, in the boardroom because the studio that we should be using to take videos, people are alarming and sleeping there. So I'm like, okay, today this video has to happen and it's going to happen right now. I am promise I'm going to post a video with like a very young life update. Not much has happened, but a lot has happened. And on this specific one, I just want to talk about what God has put in my heart. So I know a lot of times, right? We are always asking God to bring us help, right? Stay with me. I promise it's not going to be long, but I need you to stay with me. We're always asking God to bring us help, right? To save us, to, yeah, basically just send help. Come save me. I'm losing my mind. I get it. And I feel like sometimes we don't really realize that God has literally given us everything that we need to survive everything that we're going through. Not always, but sometimes, right? So I just started like thinking about this. I'm like, okay, like, what are you trying to say, God? And I can't even like pinpoint or remember the moment that I started like having these questions and wanting answers and everything. But here I am. So over the past 2 months, I've just been thinking and not thinking rather, but I've just been feasting on Exodus 3, 4, and Judges 6. Now, I'll just point out a few similarities and, like, yeah, what I was thinking together with those, like, verses. Now, in trying to, like, obviously, when you're in a situation, you want God to help you. You're like, okay, you said when I call upon your name, you're there, you will come and save me. And sometimes God is like, but baby, I gave you everything that you need. Why aren't you proactive in what I've given you? So I'm going to start off with the story of Moses and the burning bush, which is found, I made notes, okay, which is found in the book of Exodus 3, right? So in the book of Exodus, Jesus, God, Yahweh, I am, basically has an encounter with Moses. It's not the first encounter that happens between Moses and God, but that's like the yeah, you get what I'm trying to say. And Moses sees this burning bush, but he sees that it's not consumed, it's not ending, it's not. Moses sees that, and then it's God, and God tells Moses that I need you to go to the ruler of Egypt, and I need you to tell him that he needs to let my people go. So God's people were the Israelites. Fine. And Moses is like, yo, listen, man, I'm not the one. I know, like, I know they're in trouble, and I am one of the Israelites as well, but I kind of ran from, like, it's a whole situation. So I'm not the one. Can't do it. So get somebody else to do it. Basically, that's what Moses says. And God is like, no, but I'm telling you that you are the man for the job, and I need you to make sure that you go to the king and tell him to let my people go. Moses is like, amen. There's no arguing with you, but like, if I do go, let's say I do, like, fine. Let's say, I don't know, for some reason I give into this. I need you to give me signs. Now, I said two chapters. We are going to be looking at Exodus and Judges here. And Moses is like, I'm telling you, bro, like, me, myself, and I can't do it. And to show you that I really cannot do it, I can't even speak. Like, I promise you, I'm gonna get there and I'm going to literally just have a fireball on my throat. So I promise you, I don't want to embarrass you. I know that you Yahweh, you know everything, but I'm not the one to do it. And God is like, is this young man for real? I am sending you because I trust what I have given you. And Moses is like, okay, cool, but like, I need you to show me signs. Show me signs so that I can trust that you are sending me and that you're going to be with me. Now, the signs part is all happening in Exodus 4, where God gives Moses like all the signs in the world that, hey man, I promise you that I've gone before you. I am going to be with you. Like, I need you to throw your stick. Now pick it up, turns into a snake. Hey man, put your hand in your cloak, in your whatever pocket. He does it, it comes out, it looks hella veggie, and then God is like, put it back in. Like, a lot of signs. And Moses is like, I and then like the last one is like, oh, I can't speak. I promise you, if you send me, I'm gonna act a fool. I i just won't be able to deliver. And they would never believe that the Lord of heaven's armies has sent me. I don't want to embarrass you, I promise. And God is like, I will find you someone who's going to help you. That's God. That's the first part of the story. Second part is Gideon. Now, Gideon is in the book of Judges 6. I'm sorry for huffing and puffing. I'm kind of out of breath, if you can't tell. Just a second. Okay. And the second story is in the book of Judges, verse 6. So, in the book of Judges, it's basically Gideon, and also like an angel appears to Gideon, and an angel, which is also like the Lord, appears to him and tells him, oh, I could be wrong, but if I am, please just correct me. But like, an angel appears to the Lord, and the angel is like, hey man, again, the Israelites are in a pit. They need to be saved because something obviously happened from Exodus in between, and now we're in the book of Judges. And then I promise you, you go read your Bible, you'll find everything right there. Like, no page is going to be missing, or like, I promise you, Exodus 3 and Judges 6, I promise you. So we now in the scene where the angel appears to Gideon, and the angel is like, okay, I've seen what's happening, right? The Israelites are in it again, but God has seen it and is going to deliver the Israelites from the rule of the Midianites. I hope I'm saying it right. And I don't know why it's cackling, right? It's shaking. I don't know. Now, in verse 6 of Judges, in verse 12 of Judges 6, when the angel appears to me, to Gideon, it says, mighty warrior, warrior, warrior. And then Gideon is like, you must not know who I am. And then in verse 14, it reads that Gideon is telling the Lord, the angel, that clearly, let me just fill this guy in. My clan is the weakest of them all. Now, when I read that, it kind of sounded like what Moses said in Exodus 4, verse 11, when he was like, I've never been eloquent. It's like, yes, the Israelites were asking for help, and Moses and Gideon know that the Israelites need help. They need deliverance. They need to be redeemed from the rule of the Midianites and the Egyptians. All of it. Everyone knows of this urgent help from God. But both Moses and Gideon, they were both like, we are not the ones to do it. Yes, we want help, but we need the help to come from outside of us. Of which that's what ultimately happens because God uses Himself. It's still God that delivers them, but then using the two men. I hope I said that better. Can I try again? Yes, God was going to redeem them, help them, all of it, but then they were the ones called to do the big things. Anyway, Gideon is like, Lord, I'm sorry to break it to you. You probably don't see this whole thing happening, but like, my clan is one of the weakest clans. So for you to ask that of me, I promise you, I'm not the one. Get somebody else to do it, someone stronger, someone, because I am not the one to do it. And what's interesting is in verse 17, so the angel, the Lord, calls Gideon a warrior, right? But then Gideon goes against what the angel is saying. He's like, no, I promise you, I'm not. Like, I am weak. I know what you just said, but it's a mistake. I'm weak. I'm not a warrior. And then in verse 17, so Gideon, like, listens and he's like, okay, let me just give you a chance. Go on. This is the angel explains, okay, this is what will happen. And another thing, Exodus 4, where God was giving Moses signs. Well, Moses asked for signs, and God was like, "Okay, I'm gonna give you signs." And then in Judges 6, verse 17, Gideon's like, "Oh, okay, I hear you. I hear what you say. Cool. Let's just say I'm gonna rock with you and what you're saying. I'm asking for a sign, what?" And then I just wanted to take it like home now because obviously we don't, even though we don't have to fight Midianites, Jebusites, all of them, Rebusites, parasites, even though we don't have to fight those, there's still something that we have to fight. Again, in the beginning of this video, I did mention that sometimes we are asking for external help. But God, this whole time, is like, no, but I have put you on this earth for a time like as this, for a time as this, or for a time like this, to be the help that you need. And a lot of times, we ourselves are like, I'm definitely not the one to do it. Okay, typical example, I'm just going to talk about when God maybe asks you to evangelize to people. Tell him of his goodness. You're like, I promise you, I'm not set up that way. I'm not set up in such a way that I could go around and like speak in that way. And God is like, but I called you for this. This is what you're supposed to do. And you know that God has told you to maybe start a business, to start a podcast. God has called you to do anything. You know what God is calling you for, and you're like, no, but I first need help with ABC, and I don't have DEF, and I still have to figure out. God is calling you, and you think that when God calls you, He's not going to make provisions for what He's calling you for. I mean, in Exodus 4, when God was like giving the signs, I could be wrong, between Exodus 3 and Exodus 4, when Moses was like, I stutter, I can't speak. And God is like, no, but I already have someone in mind who's going to help you do what I have called you to do. And God, that's literally how He works. He worked like that from the beginning of time, and that's literally how He still works right now. One, He will never call you for what He cannot sustain you for or of. I don't know English, guys. I try. Anyway, He will make sure that He provides for what He's calling you for. And you don't have to do it by yourself. Yes, as much as you have the Holy Spirit, you have Him and whatever, He will always call people to help you, um, live out what He has called you for. I think I said that in a very way, but like, yeah, that's literally all I wanted to say. And if you have time, I just want you to literally just read the book of Exodus chapter 3 and 4, and then the book of Gideon, and then you can just try to piece everything together yourself. Because the moral of this whole story is that God has called us for something. Sometimes the help you want to see is you. One, God has called you. Two, He will make ways and make provision to make sure that you carry out what He has called you to do. Three, He will always, always, always have people to help you carry out what He has given you. So you don't have to stress about not making it, or not having it, or not being enough, because both of those men, both Moses and Gideon, are like, hey man, I'm weak. I'm not a warrior. I can't speak. God knows all of that. God knows your struggles. He knows where you're weak. He knows it all. And He's still like, you know what? I want you to do that. I'm calling you to do it. And the more we procrastinate and put off what God has called us for, He will literally find somebody else to do it. I think it's in the book of Luke or John. I'm really not sure, but I think it's in Luke, where God is like, hey man, if you won't praise me, I will literally raise up the stones and they will praise me. So it's not like He's looking for us to do everything that He's called us to do. No. He can literally, He can whisper to the trees, to the sea, to the birds, everything, like, hey man, my people are crazy. They don't want to, do anything. So hey man, do this. So God doesn't really need us. But like, yeah, I didn't want to say that rough, but like, He can easily take what He has placed in you. He can take your talent. He can take your influence. He can take it and just give it to someone who's going to action and carry out what He wants to be carried out. That's all I wanted to say. I hope that made sense. And like, I really miss taking videos. But yeah, let me know what you think. Like, what do you think God is calling you to do in this season of your life? It might not be anything grand or big or whatever, but like, if God put it in your heart, then it's worth doing, because like, the creator of the universe literally is like, hey man, I need you to do this. And you can trust Him to see you through it. And God will never ask you to do something that will embarrass you and not glorify Him. All the glory needs to go back to Him. So that's basically all I wanted to share with you. It's been sitting in my heart for 2 whole months, and yeah, it kind of took me 20 minutes to get it across or like voice it out. But yeah, man, I feel like it's time we start being intentional with what God has placed in us. And I'm looking forward to hearing what you think. Um, and what content you want to see more of on my channel. And I don't want to make a promise and say I'm going to like post every month, but like as soon as I have something in my spirit that I feel like I need to share, I'm going to make sure that I share it. So thank you so much for taking 20 minutes of your time to just watch this. And it feels good to be back. And yes, I am back. So don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell a friend. Thank you so much for watching, and I love you so, so much. And bye.